It's Brentford 2, Chelsea 2 next. And now I've got to talk to you about this one because I'm not happy about it. I've got to be honest with you. Explain how, at the end of this game, right in the thick of all of the action as this long torpedo throw comes in, how the Brentford player, Dongo Ouattara, who is in an offside position from the flick on, is not making a movement that influences the ability of either the goalkeeper or the rest of the defence to play the ball. Because every little movement at this juncture is a distraction at that speed and with that distance to goal. This is a goal that stops Chelsea getting all 3 points. It's great for Brentford. They get a point as a result of it, and they probably deserved it over the piece. However, this decision directly impacts the result of the game. Explain it to me.
Who's your team, Sam?
That's not relevant at this juncture. I was really annoyed about it, I've got to be honest with you.
Well,
loads of people were, though.
Yeah, I understand where people are coming from for this. And if I was in the VAR chair, you'd probably hate me because I've probably watched this 20 times. And the more I watch it, you're looking at the law in relation to offside, and we talk about, clearly attempting to play the ball when it's close, but does it impact? It's not, it's not an automatic offence to be in that offside position. And Ouattara, he doesn't touch the ball. And when you look at it, it's a throw-in, as you say, that's been launched in. He doesn't touch the ball, does he? Is it a clear impact? I'm going to divide opinions, Sam, with this, and Chelsea fans will shout at me, but I just don't see it as him clearly impacting on Reece James. And then, because when I watched this in real time, I got sort of beaten up and concerned with the Van der Berg bit, because I was thinking they were checking Van der Berg, whether it's touched him and gone on to Carvalho for the goal. But it's one that will divide opinion. It's a massive subjective thing, this. And what I would say is VAR's not there to re-referee and not forensically examine. So we go with the on-field decision. The VAR's checked it. They felt that it wasn't, the action wasn't affecting Reece James, and it was allowed to stand. And I understand that, but it's one that will divide opinion. It really will.
Well, it certainly does divide opinion. And I'll tell you why. Because there's a lot going on in the box at this time, right? Okay, the long throw goes in. Everyone's really congested in front of the goalkeeper, Robert Sanchez. Now, tell me if I'm wrong, but the law does state that if you are in an offside position and when the flick on happens, Ouattara is in an offside position, right? Yeah. VAR, James Bell and Stuart Atwell is the referee here. They would have checked that, or James Bell certainly would have checked that. But what he has to assess is whether or not the movement of Ouattara impacts the ability to play the ball on the other players. Now, if you're a goalkeeper or a defender in that situation, surely any little movement means that you have to react to it because you don't know. You can't measure at that moment whether he's in an offside position or not. So surely every single movement impacts somebody else's ability to make a decision to play the ball, no?
I would suggest that when you're in that position, your sole focus is on the ball. That's what you're looking at. Now, what we don't want to do in this situation is be re-refereeing and going frame by frame by frame by frame and breaking it down. As I said to you, I must have watched this 20 times. So how clear was this? How big an error was this? I don't think it was. I understand where people are coming from. But when I look at the position of Ouattara and I look at the position of Reece James, the ball just flies by them. I just don't see the impact, and we're not about re-refereeing. Is this clearly wrong? In this situation, I don't think it is. It's a massive subjective call, and one, as I said, that will divide opinion. We want to see goals scored. I understand that as well, but we don't want to be re-refereeing. We have to talk about the clear impact. I just don't see it.
Okay, so in which case, there's a lot of people that believe, and a lot of the times we're told that offside is black and white, and it is in terms of geography, right? Mm-hmm. That's how we measure it now because of the semi-automated offside technology. But there are some elements of the offside law which are subjective. So how do you judge those? What processes do you go through? Because at that time of the match, remember we're in the 93rd minute of the game here. We know that this is a match decisive action. So do you give yourself the time and the latitude to be able to get this absolutely right, or do you rush this decision? Are you in danger of rushing this decision?
Never. You never rush the decision, Sam, because what we've got is a goal, and it's important that you take your time and you get the decision right. So it's obviously going to be checked. And as you say, offside, we used to say you're either on or you're off, and we'll see that from time to time where the flag goes up, somebody's clearly offside, it's an indirect free kick. This is a subjective offside, and there's so much to unpick with this. As I said, I looked at it 20 times. And I looked at it again this morning, and I'm unpicking and unpicking. That's not what VAR is for. It's not about unpicking.
Is it because it's not clear? It's because it doesn't immediately stand out to you. If it immediately stood out to you, you would say, take the goal off. But because you have to look at it 20 times, you're thinking, well, in which case it's subjective. Therefore, I have to stand back. As a VAR, I would stand back in that situation.
You would look at it, but what you don't want to do is keep looking at it and keep looking at it, because whatever you do in this situation is a VAR is you're wrong. If you go too quick, you're wrong. If you go too slow, it needs to be faster. It needs to be faster. What you need is clear evidence. And as we said, Ouattara doesn't touch the ball. He doesn't clearly impact Reece James. That is my opinion. And I think the goal was right to stand.
Well, as you said, it would divide opinion. And it does.